The main things we found out were that a former campaign advisor for the Trump campaign has been cooperating for 3 months.
Surrounding this effort he made to kind of broker a meeting between Trump campaign officials and Russian officials.
The other thing that happened is that an indictment was unsealed against the former campaign chairman for the Trump campaign and one of his senior aides.
Paul Manafort and Rick Gates are indicted in connection with their work lobbying on behalf of Ukrainian interests.
And that's a big first punch by the special counsel, because it does two things. One, it lays out a very lengthy and detailed case against Paul Manafort. And two, it shows that someone's already talking.
It's true that none of today's indictments or the plea touch President Trump directly, and he's really made a point of saying, well, this has nothing to do with me. He's on much stronger ground with the Manafort indictment.
But every lawyer I spoke to thinks this is clearly designed to put so much pressure on both Manafort and Gates that one or both of them may decide to plead guilty and cooperate and say what they know about the Trump campaign. Manafort has a very, very steep mountain to climb to try to beat these charges. A lot of these charges are based on paper filings, meaning he said on his tax forms that he did not have any foreign bank accounts, and it turns out he had more than a dozen foreign bank accounts.
Well, I think you all saw today that President Donald Trump was correct. There is no evidence that Mr. Manafort or the Trump campaign colluded with the Russian government.
This is how a lot of white-collar prosecutions work. They start on the lower rungs of the ladder, and then they work their way up to the upper rungs of the ladder. Now, in the case of Manafort, he's actually a fairly important person and fairly high up on the ladder. So even as they are going at some of the smaller fish, they've already charged a big fish.
The collusion piece or the coordination piece is much more tied into the Papadopoulos plea. His plea talks about how he was in touch with these sort of cutouts, trying to broker a meeting between Trump campaign officials and Russian officials.
While the White House can say this other guy, George Papadopoulos, is so removed it's almost irrelevant to the campaign, the truth is he was a campaign advisor, and according to the public file documents, senior campaign officials were at times encouraging him to go down this road. So for that reason alone, I think there's cause for concern within anyone within the campaign or the administration who interacted with Papadopoulos.
I think the big question we have is what's next? You know, is there another person who's going to be indicted?
We've known for a while that the two main people that were facing the most scrutiny in the early days of the special counsel probe were Paul Manafort and Michael Flynn. Paul Manafort has now been charged. That raises the obvious question of, at what point do prosecutors make a decision about charging Michael Flynn?
Another big question we have is who is cooperating? Is Manafort going to cooperate now? Is Rick Gates going to cooperate now? What has George Papadopoulos told them? And the ultimate question is, of course, what did President Trump know and when did he know it?
The Russia story is a total fabrication.
I think Mueller's trying to send a message that people are cooperating, people are talking, and Mueller is getting closer. That's the kind of message that's supposed to spread fear among people under investigation. But in some cases, this is almost a textbook prosecutor first shot in a long white-collar case, which is, I want to show that I have people telling me what you did, so you better tell me what you did before I come knocking on your door.